Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or duty unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers, you will make it through. The Fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The Fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to our first class for tonight. Well, not our first, but our second class, which is the most important class of all. This is our Aqidah class. And alhamdulillah, everything in this class that I'm teaching, these are the things that we need to know. This is what will help us get through the questioning of the grave. This is also the information we need to learn as to how to live a successful life in this world too. Everything, as I tell you all the time, everything begins with and ends with Tawheed. It's all about believing in Allah. It's all about worshiping Him alone. It's all about making yourself submit. That's what the word Muslim means. It's all about submitting yourself to Allah. You know, submittance means accepting the laws He came out with, accepting the things He commanded you to do and doing them, and staying away, rejecting the things that He told you to reject. It's all about making the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam your example in life, your leader in life. Because if we stick with him and follow what he came with, life would be a lot better. Why? That doesn't mean that you won't have trials. That doesn't mean that you won't have tests. But it means you'll be able to overcome your trials. You'll be able to overcome your tests because you're putting to use the ingredients, the lessons, the advice that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam shared with us. And for this class, we're studying the book written by a great man. His name is Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. Let's talk about it. Some of you don't like Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. Y'all think he care? No. Same ones of you that don't like him don't like me. Do I care? No. It's when you start liking me that I'm going to start to worry that maybe I've changed. Maybe we've become like you people have. But this book should be a part of every English-speaking Muslim's library. Because what Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid did in this trilogy, oh yeah, it's a trilogy. He broke down the meaning of that shahada that we testify to every day. What it means, what its ramifications are. And most Muslims don't understand what it means. They don't know its ramifications. And alhamdulillah, we are in the second part of the trilogy. Oh, yeah. And mashallah, this chapter, I think we're on chapter 4. The chapter that we're on is such a very good chapter because what Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid has done in this chapter is taken from his life experiences. He's an imam, as you all know. He has an Islamic community. He runs Islamic schools and all of that. Islamic University too. And he's used his life experience as to how we can come together in a non-Islamic society, come together as one and establish a Muslim community based on, first and foremost, our belief to Allah. And then secondly, our allegiance to him, to the prophet, to the religion and each other. How we can implement that allegiance and disassociation with each other and be successful. I kind of think I just got bit by a bee. I saw a bee flying around in my house, and all of a sudden there's something burning my back. I think that bee bit me. But that's okay. I'm going to keep it moving. I can handle that pain. It's the pain of the heart that I can't handle. Oh, I can take the physical pain. Oh, it's binging. It's stinging. Ma, I got bit by a bee. My mother watching. Oh, I feel it. Okay, I'm going to keep it moving. Oh, God, it hurts. All right. But subhanAllah, this chapter is so great, so informative. I think it did. It's the stinger stuck in there. I feel it, something stuck in there. You know, it's so informative because he's telling us how to live with each other, interact with each other, and be like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions were. So let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen, and I'll ignore this. I think the stinger is stuck in. That's what it feels like. That bee bit me, and here my cats come. You guys are late. Y'all should have got the bee before it bit me. Oh, God, it hurts. It's stinging. Okay, hold on for a second. Let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Oh, God, he bit me. Jayla, you see I'm sweating. You better get over here because that bee bit me. I'm going to probably be sick. You know, I'm a hypochondriac. It hurts, y'all. Y'all see I'm sweating. That stinger is stuck in me. Come over here and get this stinger out, Jayla. It's stinging. Hold on for a second, guys. For real, he bit me. Fresno, am I getting ready to get sick? Pfizer?
No.
All right. Okay. Let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. I'm sweating. My granddaughter just texted me. She said she's coming over. Okay, good. Because I'm bit for real. I'm starting to cry. All right, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Oh, yeah, it hurts. The cats weren't here on time to get the stinger, to get the bee. He got the stinger in there. I feel that stinger for real. SubhanAllah. Yeah, okay, let's put this on the PowerPoint up. Let me take it to this globe while I share. Oh, it really hurts. Okay, this is it. And let me take it to the right page. We stopped off right there, right? Okay. And let me share for you guys here. All right. Okay, everybody on YouTube, here we go. Okay, everybody on YouTube can see. All right, and let me make it larger. Yeah, this is where we stopped off. The last time we met, which was the other day, we spoke about, you know, how the role that allegiance plays in our Muslim communities. And now we're going to speak today about how to address the harmful behaviors in the Muslim communities. Because as you guys know, just because a person is Muslim doesn't mean that they have good manners, good character, good adab. That's what the word adab means. One of the new shahadas, Brother Edward, asked me, what does adab mean? Adab means behavior, character. You don't have to learn how to speak Arabic to be a Muslim. And just because you don't speak Arabic does not mean that you less than a person that do. It does not mean that you don't understand the religion either. That's garbage. But there are certain Arabic terms that we should be aware of because we'll hear them a lot, such as adab. It's referring to your behavior, your character, your and all of that, your actions. So when we come upon other Muslims in our communities, not all of them have good behavior. Not all of them have good character. So today we're going to speak about how to address the harmful behaviors and still uphold our Islamic values. And when it comes to addressing harmful behaviors, that's where Bara comes in. Bara refers to distancing. This is when we might have to distance ourselves from others. Okay? Bara. This is the concept of disassociation, and it plays a crucial role in safeguarding our integrity. It plays a great role in promoting justice. It plays a great role in upholding our Islamic values. As Muslims, we don't cut each other off. We don't cut the ties with each other unless, the person really is a renegade. Okay? But there are some amongst us that we may have to distance ourselves from. For example, look at this picture I chose. These are kids in high school. They're all Muslim. One of the girls wears hijab and dresses correctly. The other girls are Muslim, but they don't dress correctly. They may not even be practicing. When the girl goes to school, she still interacts with them. They study together in class. She treats her sisters in Islam with respect, with dignity. She even greets them. She gives them all the rights. Remember, there are certain rights that we owe each other. The greeting is one. Yarhamakallah, when you sneeze, is another. But once school is over, the bell rings and it's time to go home. This girl in the hijab will distance herself. The other two girls may invite her over to hang out with them. She'll politely decline because their lifestyle, even though it's supposed to be like hers, it isn't. So this is the concept of disassociation. By disassociating with the girls that don't practice, this is how the one who does practice keeps her integrity. And by doing it this way, you're still being just. You're still upholding our Islamic values. So Bara entails distancing yourself from harmful behaviors, such as girls who don't wear hijab, girls who are dating. Most Muslim girls today, when they're teenagers, they got boyfriends. I'm going to distance myself from that because the temptation is great for us all to indulge in that. So Bara involves distancing myself from harmful behaviors and people who engage in them. Does everyone understand? There's a difference between distancing and cutting the tie. The Prophet Muhammad didn't go around cutting the ties with his brothers and sisters in Islam, but he distanced himself from those who had bad behaviors, those who were doing harmful actions, those who were known to be hypocrites. He distanced himself from them. Okay? So this is how you protect your faith. You protect your practice. You protect your values while still upholding that brotherly love for each other. This is something we don't see today. Nowadays, for those teenage girls that don't wear hijab, the Muslims will call her a kafir. They'll call those girls kafirs, deviants, and they'll slander their character. That's not the way the Prophet taught us to do it. Okay? We distance ourselves from people like that. They are advised by the people of knowledge. The people of knowledge, meaning the imam of the community, would address them, not you. Okay? And if they still refuse to exhibit the correct behavior, we deal with them from a distance, but they're still our sisters in faith. If they need help, we'll help them. If they need support, we'll support them. But I'm not going to hang out with them. Weddings, they're invited to, because weddings are open for all Muslims. But my personal gatherings, I may not invite them to it. You guys get it? That's Bara. So Bara empowers us to confront harmful behaviors head on by clearly expressing our disapproval. You let the girls know, I can't come over to your house. My mother and father are trying to raise me to stay upon Sirat al-Mustaqim. And because you sisters, are dating and you're indulging in that behavior that you shouldn't do, I'm going to have to distance myself. But when you do start practicing the deen, I would be more than happy, to hang out with you sisters. You just let them know in a nice way. That might even encourage them to do right. What the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to do was boycott. He didn't boycott food and clothing and companies like y'all do. He boycotted people. If there were Muslims that were engaging in harmful behaviors, he would boycott them and have everyone else boycott them until they changed the behavior. And this would be very effective for us in our Muslim communities, for those sisters who don't dress properly, for those brothers who are not performing their prayers at the mosque as they should. Then if everyone in the community would boycott them, that might encourage them to do right. Because as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, nobody likes to be ignored. Okay? So by implementing Bara, which is distancing, you're setting boundaries that will protect your well-being and will uphold your family's Islamic values. And this will create a community of accountability, because remember, we are a people of accountability. We're supposed to hold ourselves accountable for what we say before we say it and after, and what we do before we do it and after. We've deviated away from being people of accountability. Okay? Also, when we do distance ourselves from individuals who engage in harmful behavior, that behavior should be detailed as harmful, but from Allah, based on the Quran and the Sunnah, not what you deem to be harmful, because you don't like the fact that that sister wears nice clothing. That doesn't mean that you have the right to distance yourself from her or boycott her, because nothing in the Quran forbids women from wearing nice clothing. The Prophet's wives wore nice clothing out the house. All the Prophet, the female companions, wore nice clothing. Allah loves beauty. Allah commands us to wear our beautiful garments to every place of worship, every place of gathering. He doesn't say just men. He says, oh, you who believe. That means all people who believe in Allah wear your beautiful garments to every place of worship and every gathering of worship. So because you have a problem with a sister dressing nicely, that doesn't mean that it's a problem with Allah. So again, when we do distance, everything is based on the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not based on what you don't like, what your sheikh don't like, or what a fatwa off of Islam Q&A says. Everybody understand that? And that's the problem. We find ourselves boycotting each other and doing Bara, based on personal dislikes instead of what Allah dislikes. As Allah says in the Quran, perhaps you dislike something that Allah brings good from. So Bara plays a pivotal role in creating and sustaining a healthy and morally upright community, but only if it's based on the Quran and the Sunnah. Does everybody understand that? Only if it's based on the Quran and the Sunnah. And embracing this concept leads to personal growth and creates a community of righteous individuals. We become people of justice. We become people of accountability. We become people who are righteous in our interactions with others, just as those companions were. Subhanallah. So now, let me give you guys a quiz, just to see how well you understand how to implement Bara or distancing in our interactions with each other. First question. You go to the mosque and you come upon a group of sisters speaking badly about the imam, critiquing him, saying bad things about him. What should you do? Who would like to answer? These are questions of fiqh. As who would like to answer? What would you do? Go ahead. And by the way, we have the class with Mukhtar, the life of the prophet. So I don't have all day while y'all pretend like you here. Anybody, you go to the mosque and you come upon some of the women speaking badly about the imam. What should you do? Simple question, very simple.
You should advise that sister, whoever it is that's
it's a group
about
of
someone. You should be able to. You should advise them for one, and let them know the dangers that it is, and then tell them to you be your deeds and to me be mine. Don't sit in the company with them. But I advise them first.
When you advise them, what would you say to them?
I'll tell them that basically that you shouldn't be talking about the imam for one. He's a person that's of knowledge.
That's it? Are all imams people of knowledge?
Well, not really, but we should be backbiting for one.
Well, then express yourself. I want y'all to work on expressing yourself. What would you advise? Anybody want to help her out? When you advise a person, in other words, what would you say to them? They're sitting there talking badly about the imam. What would you say? Seriously.
Okay, for seriously, I tell them, I'll be like, y'all shouldn't be talking about him for one, because backbiting, you're going to have to eat. Would you like to eat the flesh of that person? That's what I would tell them.
Yeah, just keep it like that. Yeah, that's common sense. What else? Anybody else? What else would you say? Anyone else? I would also remind them, remember, we're supposed to be brothers and sisters in faith. We shouldn't, this is not the way we should behave. He's our brother in Islam. If you disagree with something he says, take it up with him. I would take it further. I tell him, if you guys have a problem with the imam, why don't you go and make an appointment and talk to him about it? That would be better than sitting here in a group speaking badly about him behind his back. And then you would continue and tell him, and if you sisters continue with this, I'm going to leave your company. Because as Allah tells us in the Quran, to you be your deeds and to me be mine. You know, y'all got to learn to just break it down. If we would break things down to other Muslims, then they would probably say, you're right, she's right. Let's stop talking about the Imam. Let's change the topic. You're right. That's a good idea. Maybe we should, you know, make an appointment to bring this up to him. Okay. Next question. Why is it important to empathize instead of sympathize for others? Now, when you answer this question, your answer will also include the difference between the two. So I'm giving y'all a clue as to how to answer this the correct way. Who would like to try it?
Empathize means I put myself in their place. Sympathize means I feel sorry for them. So I would, it's important to put yourself in that person's place because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. So you're feeling them, but I ain't having no pity on them. I don't feel sorry for them.
Good job. I mean, you answered that pretty good.
And add to that, Layla, I'm a perfect example to people when I say they're gonna take off another toe. They begin to sympathize with me, and I let them know, no. You're gonna have to sympathize. Don't feel sympathy. I accept the decree of Allah. I accept it. I'm okay. So you need to empathize with me. MashaAllah.
Exactly. And what does, and also including as what does, like Amina said, empathizing means to try and leads to help because you're putting yourself in that person's shoes. So, but what does sympathizing lead to? Continue it up, somebody. To explain why it's important. Because
sympathize means you get played on because you're feeling sorry for them, so they're going to play you like you a sucker, just putting it in my words.
That's true too. What else about sympathy?
Well, they'll make the person feel bad for themselves as though, oh my gosh, I'm not going to come out of this. Oh my gosh, I know what you mean, girl.
It can cause sympathy, can lead to a loss of hope. Sympathy can lead to that. And what else can sympathize and can cause you to do? You feeling so sorry for that person, what can it cause you to do?
Go into depression?
No, you're the one that's feeling so sorry. What's happening today? There's a lot of Muslims with sympathy for Gaza. What are they doing?
Transgressing the limits.
Exactly. You're transgressing the limits of Allah because you feel sorry for these people instead of empathizing for them. You've reverted to tribalism. You've reverted to racism. You're even making TikTok videos saying, let the people in Africa who've been going through the same genocide, and these are Muslims. Do y'all know these are not Kafir Africans I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Sudanese. They're Muslim. I'm talking about the Muslim Africans in Ghana. A lot of them. I'm talking about the Muslims in Nigeria. I'm talking about the Muslims in Tanzania. I'm talking about the Muslims in Burundi. I'm talking about the Muslims in the Congo. We ain't talking about no Kafirs. There's more Muslims in Africa than there are in the Middle East, for those of you who didn't know that. Get some education. Okay? Because you feeling sorry for the Middle East because that's what the world wants you to do. While you're feeling sorry for them, they're genociding all the Muslims in Africa. And you're telling us to tell the Muslims in Africa to eat mud when they're losing their children too. Their daughters, their 9 and 10-year-old daughters in Sudan are being raped. They're killing their parents and keeping the girls to rape and impregnate. Did y'all know that? This genocide genocide's been going on since 2012 in Africa, all over Africa. And these are Muslims. I don't care about the non-Muslims. When I talk about what's happening in Africa, y'all should automatically know I'm talking about Muslims. Nobody care about no non-Muslims. It's the non-Muslims doing it. Sympathy leads to transgression. Sympathy leads to a loss of hope. Sympathy leads to a pity party, whereas empathy leads to change. Empathy leads to hope. Empathy leads to justice, because you're putting yourself in those people's shoes and you're going to bring about justice. Whereas sympathy is the opposite. You're going to be unjust because you only care about a certain group. I'm so proud of the Sunnah followers women here on my website. They had a good Ramadan. MashaAllah. While the world was feeling sorry for Gaza, You know, the women on my website, you know, sent money and built wells for the Muslims in Ghana who were living in 3 villages. They didn't even have a tent to sleep in. They're living under bomas. You know what a boma is? They was sharing water from a lake with the hippopotamus and the crocodiles. They never had fresh water. They didn't have enough food to feed themselves. And their bomas are bulldozed down all the time. They find them hiding underneath their bowl. They just run it down. The same stuff. Well, alhamdulillah, the women on my website who will fall in the category of the ransom, we sent our money to those 3 villages of Muslims in Ghana. And alhamdulillah, they still eating well. They said they've never had help like this before because nobody ever cared about them because they Africa. And we built 2 wells. 2 wells in the name of Sunnah followers. Our website name is on those wells. Sunnah followers. Thank you, Pfizer.
Later, there's some comments on YouTube. Fatima Abdullah said, I would say it's not good to be here in the house of Allah. You shouldn't be speaking about him. Then leave from that group of sisters after I say your deeds be your deeds and to you be mine. And then Aya said sympathy leads to pity, which leads to transgressing the limits of Allah. Sakina said sympathy can lead to sorrow and anger, which will lead to actions which transgress the limits of Allah.
MashaAllah, perfect, exactly. You start feeling sorry for somebody, then you want to pick up, what did they do? What did the ignorant Muslims here in New York do when this war first started in Gaza? They don't even know what Starbucks. They went and started smashing up Starbucks stores that was owned by Muslim people, Arab people. Just ignorant. Sympathy leads to violence. Sympathy leads to anger, whereas empathy causes you to think. If you empathize with a people, you have to think and try to rationalize how to make change, how to make the situation better. That's the problem with you Muslims around the world today. You got to get out of that sympathy and get into empathy, because guess what? I'm the only dyer that's telling you this, but watch. This is just the beginning of the end. It ain't going to stop. What's going on in Africa, what's going on in Gaza ain't going to stop. This is the beginning of what leads to the end when they sign. Those 80 countries signed to have war against America. So that means, against the Muslims. It's going to hit America. It's going to hit Australia. It's going to spread throughout the United Kingdom and Europe, Canada. Like the prophet said, there will be no place on this earth that won't be experiencing this devastation. So y'all better get a clue. All your boycotting, all your protesting ain't gonna bring about nothing, because Allah's in control. And until you Muslims understand that, what you want, that's why it's gonna get worse. All right? Good job on that answer. What about this? Why is accountability important in Islam? In other words, why is it important for us as Muslims to hold ourselves accountable? Why is accountability important? Common sense question. And this is the problem. We have no accountability today. That's why Allah sent this war. We have no accountability. Why is accountability important in Islam? Common sense.
You should look at yourself and see what part you played in the matter.
Exactly. Because if, accountability allows you to hold yourself accountable, like she said, and see what role you played. Allah tells us why he sends war, why he sends calamity. He said, whatever bad comes to you is from me as a result of what you brought on yourself. So everybody should be holding themselves accountable. Forget about all that protesting that ain't gonna change nothing. You need to ask yourself, what did I do to bring this upon myself and the rest of us? Did I deviate away from better? Am I deviated away from belief in Allah? If you held yourself accountable, you'd see that you are part of the problem. You're part of the reason. And then you can make the change to change yourself. Like Allah says, he will never change the condition of a people until they make the steps to change the condition of themselves. Until you Muslims around the world wake up and turn back to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, none of this will ever end, which it ain't going to. It's just the beginning of what's going to lead to the end. Good job. Any other comments?
Let me see. Mrs. Fatima Matthews. Oh no. Anyway, Allah gave us the will. Wait, Allah gave us, I guess she means free will. Anyway, I'm gonna just read what she got. Allah, what I see here. Allah gave us the will plus accountability for ourselves.
Exactly. That's what it's about. Holding ourselves accountable. Holding ourselves accountable for our actions, holding ourselves accountable for our choices, holding ourselves accountable for our decisions. If we did that, then we'd realize, wow, nothing happens without just cause. Remember, Allah is the one in control. And Allah is just. He's not going to send all this unless he's got a reason to. If you held yourself accountable, you'd see the reason. The reason is, I ain't practicing my religion. Those women protesting and boycotting, 90% of the women ain't even dressed properly. 90% of the men ain't made a prayer at the mosque and God knows how long, and they ain't got no beards. But they doing all this protesting, all this boycotting, all this slandering, all of this ignorance. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop right here.